Chapter 3. A Plan for the Future for Each of Us? In the morning at Main's penthouse, Dee had curry for breakfast and Mickey was upset. "Hey Dee, stop eating curry in the morning. The smell is too intense," Mickey said, making a face. "I don't see what the problem is. The smell of Japanese curry is awful." "Oh, okay." The Dee clone erected an invisible barrier called an etiquette guard. It blocked the odor molecules and the smell went away. "That's a little bit harsh, don't you think?" Main said. "The smell of the curry is awful." "Is there something wrong with me, Ms. Main?" Dee asked. Who here doesn't mind? To Main's question, all but Mickey raised their hands. Good. Main, don't be mean. Also, check on the Kamodake later today and make sure there is an etiquette guard installed. If it's not there, I'll buy one today. Excuse me. I'm sorry for any trouble, Dee said. Isn't it your bioenhancement, Mickey? You're going to need some new things for your human body, aren't you? Make a list and I'll go buy it. Kariko said. They went about talking about their plans for the day. Karen had to go with Eri to explain Akka and the Fuku clone's adoption. Main and the Cabbits were going to partition up Seina's room. Can't we use the Bioroid maids from the Kamodake to clean the house? Mickey asked. They were registered to only obey Seina. Besides, Matoto is supposed to be in charge of the maid service anyways. Kariko, I'm ready. Karen came to the living room with Akka, who wore a dress. Oh, you look pretty. They left for their tasks for the day. In Main's penthouse, after the bustle of the meal died down, each remaining girl remembered the words Eri had dropped like a bomb the previous night. Marriage. After finishing cleaning up breakfast, Kariko sat on a chair in the kitchen and stared at a cup in the cupboard. Seina and Kariko's tea bowls placed next to each other seemed to be like a couple set. Can I even think about that this early? Am I even worthy? It was still stabbing like a prickle in her heart how she had once abandoned Seina and fled to outer space. Tsukiko had forgiven her, but she was still not confident about the matter. She gazed at her right hand. She stared at it a long time as she thought, but she grasped her right hand with great pressure. But marriage is impossible, isn't it? In the corner of her eyes was Seina's bowl, Kariko, Main, Ryoko, and Neige's bowls as well. Hakuren's 4 girls and Fuku and the Cabbits' bowls too. A lot of tea bowls were visible as well. Main lay on the bed in her room and was in the midst of thinking just like Kariko. Marriage with Seina? Main recalled when she first met Seina. Although I told it to Kariko mockingly, for me it was still my first kiss. Main's face turned red from ear to ear. No, if I had a time machine, I'd hit myself for saying that. If she wanted to erase the memory, modern medical technology would have made it easy. But for Main, the memory of her first encounter with Seina was sacred. On the list of things she was most proud of doing in her life, there was no doubt that giving Seina the opportunity to go out into space was on it. Of course, Seina had done a lot of good, but it was more important to her that he had been near her this whole time, but thinking about it didn't make her happy. She felt like she wanted to run off onto the beach in front of her. No, it's fine. But the beating of her heart grew quicker, and it felt like her chest was about to burst. Ugh, I just need to talk to someone about this. She thought about it and realized the only person she had to talk to was Raireza, so she called her. I am pretty busy at the moment. I'm sorry, but I don't really have time to talk. As expected, Raireza had known Main a long time, and as soon as she saw her face, she knew what she wanted to talk about and was trying to get off the line with her. Main told her what was going on, and they talked about their feelings between her and Seina and Raireza and Hiroshi for a while before Raireza ended the call. Marriage, Ryoko was pondering it. Ryoko could be said to be her exterior public personality, pure decoration. She would do it if it was necessary. It would just be seen a duty to her, and her feelings on the matter were free from the sweet feelings of romantic love. She was a very ordinary girl. However, unknowingly she had grown severely as a person recently from how she was raised. When she infiltrated into the academy as a spy and got her transforming ability, Irma, of course, was just a mask. However, because she met Seina, Irma had completely formed an ego of her own, and her spirit was torn apart and split between the strong mission of Ryoko and the feeling of Irma. Of course, at first, Ryoko was her true heart. Irma was a fictional person, but Ryoko had a heavy mission and position and heavy responsibility. There was no room for her to even consider having true feelings. After all, she was driven to achieve her missions by any means and had a heavy responsibility to bear in doing so, and then she met Sena and that changed. When Ryoko was caught and released from all that pressure, her two egos should have merged into one. However, since she found out she was a princess of Balta, she left the two egos unintegrated. But both sides recognized each other's existence and shared values. Ryoko turned into Irma and thought about marriage again. Her face turned red and her heart beat fast. Just thinking about it was embarrassing and made her heart flutter. Maya. Irma rolled around happily. Big sister Irma. Cried Irma, jumping up in the air like a surprised cat. Akka. Akka looked at Irma from the door with a strange look. She was at a loss as to how she should judge Irma's actions. Go home, Irma said. I am home. Her smile calmed Irma and she realized there was a misunderstanding and rushed to Akka to hug her. You're back early. Have you finished already? Yes. Irma checked the time and saw it was already near lunch. She saw that Akka was still in the clothes she was wearing when she went out, so she got her some new clothes. Thank you. Well, go on and change your clothes, that said. She saw Akka off. Karen, who was waiting in the corridor, bowed to Irma to greet her. This is kind of nice, isn't it? Big sister Neju, I'm home now. Akka, who had changed into casual clothes, came to Neju's room. Oh, already? How did it go? Good. There are lots of things I don't understand, but every day from now on, the person in charge is going to come to pick me up and I can tell you all about it. That sounds good. Neju was glad to see Akka smile. Big sister Neju, why hasn't that one Fuku returned yet? It will take her some time. I think she will come back by supper. Is she sick? Akka looked up at Neju uneasily. No, she's not sick. Miki was originally a human, but she lost her body. How did she get that body? That body was made from a part of Fuku-chan. She was put in there by a bad magician. A bad magician? Yes, a bad magician put her back in a weird body. This picture here is what she used to look like. Can Fuku look like that too? Since Fuku is about a year old, she's still a baby, but she can eventually. Yay! A projection of an adult woman appeared before Akka's eyes. Don't be surprised, because it's just a picture. That woman, she looks a bit like Neju's older sister. Correct? This will be me when I become an adult. Beautiful, just like Tenio-sama. Thank you. Is this also magic? From Akka's perspective, this world was one filled with gods and magicians. And science was magical. So, if it made it easier for Akka to understand, there was no need to correct it. Yes, and you can do it too, Akka. Beside Neju's picture, Akka's adult figure emerged. Wow! Akka clung to Neju in surprise. Akka is also amazing looking. I'm a bit surprised. Irma was an uncommon wow of white hair, but Akka, a wow of golden hair, was even rarer. Hehe. Neju decided to try on a simulation of Akka's shrine maiden outfit on the models. A simulation of Kariko was also there. The three of them looked amazing. When you also get bigger, Sena will be petrified. Akka said. Huh. This is a costume for when a shrine maiden wishes to marry the brave man of the idol. Oh, that's right. She was a little confused by the word marriage, but still imagined that future. But what she was interested in more than that was the sight of Kariko also dressed in this costume and them arranged side by side. She imagined the reaction of Sena seeing them like that and laughed. Ahahaha. Spectacular. It'll be spectacular, don't you think? I want to try it. Akka stared at her strangely, but Neju couldn't stop laughing. Washu, Sido, Eri, and Mikami had gathered in the secret workshop in Amain's penthouse basement after a long absence. The figures were gathered in the dark like witches, no, like demons gathering. So, that's why groups of 4 people reverse the vector of the probability with Sena. I wonder if ZINV is involved. And Miki, Kirchi, and D, Fuku are all about the same as the original 4 people in astral shape. It's a miraculous thing to trace back his bias to the root cause. It's regrettable that we can't disclose this information right away. Everyone will get angry. There was a lot of technical information kept confidential to philosophers, but regarding this issue, faculties and researchers involved in gathering the information were split up and diversified. So, it wasn't possible for any of them to disclose the information to each other, but keeping this information confidential could potentially delay scientific development by millennium. Especially since Arisama is the president of the Academy, we don't want to be blamed for impeding the development of the Academy's science, but the amount of backlash we'll receive over holding out on this will be amazing, ahoho. Mikami said. Before we unveil this, I might just have to take a conveniently timed secret sabbatical. Even then, this is going to be a headache. In regard to ZNV, though, I say we go ahead and present this information.